Hello, everyone, and welcome to the closing ceremony of Nexus Luxembourg 2025.
It's been a great day so far, and we're looking forward to some insightful discussions and firesides during this closing. Right, Avanti?
100%. We have some great speakers, so stay tuned. This has been a fruitful 2 days of exchange, networking, and learning, and we're excited for the closing ceremony to further enhance your takeaways. So, let's get started.
To deliver the introductory remarks, I invite to the stage Cindy Tereba, the CTO and Director of International Affairs at the Chamber of Commerce.
Let's give a warm welcome, and Cindy, the floor is yours.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear visitors of Nexus 2050, as we bring this exceptional second edition of Nexus to a close, I am truly honored to speak on behalf of the Chamber of Commerce. This year's edition has not only exceeded expectations, it has reaffirmed the power of collaboration, innovation, and international cooperation in shaping Luxembourg's bright technological future. The energy, the ideas, the connections forged over these past days have nothing been short of inspiring. The Chamber of Commerce is proud to have served as a premium institutional partner to this event. Our commitment to fostering economic growth, supporting digital transition, and strengthening the tech ecosystem is deeply embedded in our mission. This second edition has been a success, not only for the event itself, but also for our shared ambition to make Luxembourg a hub for global innovation. In close collaboration with Luxembourg Trade and Invest and our partners, we have worked to expand the international dimension of this event. In the past few days, we have accompanied 27 delegations from 22 countries. One of the highlights of my team was to contribute to the Go International Business Meetings, a platform that we have put in place together with Nexus to spark meaningful partnerships between tech companies, startups, and investors. I truly hope that these meetings will lead to fruitful international partnerships in the future. And as we come to the end of the second edition, I would like to reflect on a theme that is central to my role as a Chief Transformation Officer: the impact and necessity of transforming in a tech-driven world. At the Chamber, we believe that the transformation is no longer a choice, it is a necessity. In today's fast-moving landscape, it's not just about keeping up, it's about staying ahead. It's about anticipating change, embracing innovation, and leading with vision. The question is no longer if change will come, but how fast and how ready we are to lead it. And at the thriving edge of this transformation is technology. It is a force that is not only reshaping our industries, but redefining the very nature of business. Artificial intelligence is more than a technological advancement. It is serving as a catalyst for transformation. At the heart of today's digital evolution, AI is unlocking exceptional levels of efficiency and creativity, reshaping how we work, make decisions, and generate value. From predictive analytics that anticipate market trends and enhance customer engagement to generative AI, revolutionizing content creation and design, artificial intelligence is pushing the boundaries of human potential. But here is the truth. Technology doesn't transform companies, but people do. The real power of change lies within ourselves, within our mindset. We need to build cultures that embrace experimentation. We need to invest in digital literacy across all levels of an organization. And we need to align with our tech strategies, or we need to align our tech strategies with our business purpose. And as we embrace these tools, we must also lead with responsibility. The future of transformation is not just technological. It is ethical, inclusive, and human-centered. We must ensure that technologies are developed and deployed in ways that are transparent, fair, and aligned with our shared values. And let's not fear disruption. Let's lead it instead. Let's build organizations that are not only future-ready, but future-defining. And the most powerful transformation starts with, as Michael Jackson has put it, with the man in the mirror. And at the Chamber of Commerce, we see ourselves not only as facilitators, as a support system to help Luxembourgish companies, we help them really to prepare the future. Whether it is to build your business, embrace the digital leap, navigate global markets, or skill up your workforce, we are here to empower businesses to anticipate change and thrive in an increasingly connected and technology-driven world. Let me close by thanking the organizers of Nexus, all partner sponsors, and the participating companies who have made this event. Thank you for making this edition a success.
Thank you, Cindy, for these introductory statements.
Now, we are delighted to bring you a very unique and special fireside chat on graphene nanotubes. Graphene nanotubes, an industrially available form of graphene, are already delivering extraordinary properties, once also promised by graphene itself. Graphene nanotubes can be visualized as graphene sheets rolled into tiny tubes. These tubes are incredibly long at a nanoscale and are also highly flexible. Imagine a strand of hair that's 50,000 times thinner. Thanks to their unique shape and atomic thin structure, they possess properties like exceptional strength and also unparalleled electrical conductivity. When added to materials at just 0.01% by weight, graphene nanotubes create an internal network that imparts these remarkable qualities to the final product. This makes them a game changer across industries like energy, mobility, construction, electronics, and aerospace. OCSiAl, established in Luxembourg in 2010, and now with offices and representatives in more than 20 countries, is a global leader in the mass production of graphene nanotubes. And I have the pleasure of inviting Konstantin Notman, the CEO of OCSiAl, to the stage for a fireside chat on the material powering tomorrow's breakthroughs. Let's give a warm welcome. Thank you. It's great to meet you. First of all, thank you for joining us here at Nexus Luxembourg. We are delighted to have you share this special fireside chat with us on tomorrow's technologies and how graphene nanotubes are going to play a crucial role in them. So my first question is, we're kind of in this era which is where attention is drawn to digital breakthroughs like AI and blockchain, but your work kind of focuses on a physical material, graphene nanotubes. So why is such a revolution important, and what makes current existing materials insufficient?
Let's start from the question. What is the weight of your car? 1 ton, 1.5, 2 tons? What is the weight of your house? Because I already know the answer. The average weight of the house is from 150 tons. We are changing tires every 2 or 3 seasons. we are driving our very heavy cars alone. What it means? It means that generally all our technosphere is too heavy. And finally, if we're talking about physical properties, in terms of the energy efficiency, is not good enough. And this is the reason why, if we really would like to decrease carbon footprint, if we really would like to have the products what are efficient around us, we need to work with the physical properties of the materials, with mechanical strengths, with energy density, and finally with energy efficiency of all materials around us. It's necessary for us. And this is the reason why in the age of artificial intelligence, we need to combine this with the real material revolutions to change technosphere around us.
Thank you so much. And yes, I mean, I completely agree. And we have to understand that behind technology, behind digital, there is always something physical. Thank you so much for that answer. And so, for those who are a bit more unfamiliar with material sciences, could you explain what role graphene nanotubes actually play and how something so small can play such a big role across industries like energy, mobility, and electronics?
Okay, I'll try to use some simple examples because our product is already in 10% of the all current models of smartphones in the world. We are inside the battery blocks of more than 1 million of e-vehicles in the world. And if I'm talking about these quite understandable products, I'm talking about the speed of the charge and discharge. I'm talking about the range of your electric vehicle. I'm talking about the time what you can use your smartphone for social media, for example, or for YouTube watching. And this is quite understandable examples, but for sure there are much more technical examples. Like today we are spending up to 30% of all energy of our vehicles, of our cars, just on only one physical parameters, to the rolling resistance in the tire. In fact, this is the heating up of our tires. Just imagine 1/3 of all energy. And if we are playing with this physical parameter, it means fantastic, unbelievable energy saving for the whole mankind. This is how it works for our daily purposes, but also new type of textiles, sensors, medical devices. Generally, we are working with so lot of practical applications, and we are living with the idea that our product, generally graphene nanotubes, they can change more than 50% of all materials around us.
Yes, thank you so much for explaining that to our audience. And the example with resistance in a car is something which I think is very real to all of us and something which we can touch and feel. For those of you who don't know, actually in 1 year there's so many, from the resistance of the tires of the car to the road, there are so many PM fine particles which come out which are actually very polluting to our air and to our atmosphere. So thank you, this will also be a great solution to that. But now I'm going to kind of shift gears a little bit. Maybe some of you may be thinking, okay, this is great, but a lot of companies are focused on reducing their carbon footprint, yet OCSiAl produces and distributes, albeit a special kind, of carbon on a global scale. So how do you respond to this kind of apparent contradiction?
At first, maybe about the carbon. Generally, carbon is absolutely fantastic. It's a magic material because diamond is also the carbon. And as you know well, that diamond is able to make much happier a lot of people around the world, and we are talking about very small stones. It's the same story like with our material. With the very low amount of additive, you can dramatically change the materials. And what is more important here, and here I would like to stress your attention, we can increase life cycle of the material. What means life cycle of the material? It means that you need less new materials. It means that the material itself doesn't matter what we're talking about. We're talking about the battery cell, or we're talking about a tire, or some kind of special epoxy composite. Doesn't matter. It means that mankind needs less new materials. If it's so, you need less energy to produce new materials. You need less efforts to recycle these materials. Altogether, dot by dot, this is the finally, this is again about energy efficiency of the material life cycle. And energy efficiency, I already repeated several times this phrase, but this is the core of our business. This is our core of our fundamental values, what we have inside the company.
Yes, thank you so much for that. And actually, chemical engineering and material science is one of my passions and deep interests, and it's amazing and phenomenal what you can see with all of these different materials and how you can change it. So thank you for actually clarifying this important aspect to our audience. So now let's kind of shift gears a little bit and talk about Luxembourg. So what made OCSiAl choose Luxembourg as a strategic hub, and how do you see the country's role in the evolving global advanced materials industry over the next decade?
Okay, maybe unofficial part of the answer. I like Luxembourg, I live here. This is the first point. From business point of view, briefly, I think that the main word is it's convenient. It's convenient and safe. This is dramatically important for any business, especially if we're talking about our modern age, all this hell, what happens around. And it's important to have a haven where a very stable political environmental, very stable economical environmental, and you have a real access to the most important critical resources for us. I'm from high-tech business. It's pure. And the main resource, what we need, is a human capital. And Luxembourg has absolutely strategic location. It's an excellent place to attract new people. Today we have people from our team members from 24 different countries. It's impressive. And Luxembourg is one of the competitive advantage why we could attract them. And I'm quite sure that Luxembourg in the future, not only in the future, but today, can use this competitive advantage and to collect this human capital inside. And finally, the quality of people, the quality of this human environmental is dramatically important for any kind of business. Doesn't matter what they're doing. They're doing some financial services or crypto or they're changing material worlds like we. And this is the main advantage of Luxembourg.
Amazing, that's great. And I love how you said that we love Luxembourg, you love Luxembourg, so can we all give a huge round for that answer? Because at Nexus Luxembourg 2025, we love Luxembourg. Amazing, incredible. Can I give you a high five? Thank you so much for that. Okay, so actually, kind of continuing on this topic, here in Nexus, we love to talk about the present, talk about what's happening right now, but we also love to look ahead, to look 5, 10 years ahead into the future and talk about what is next. So I would love to ask you, Mr. Notman, what is next for Luxembourg in graphene nanotubes?
We already the big part of Luxembourgish story because everyone knows Luxembourg in our professional world like #1 place in this sector of economy. And as I told you before, we are working with all industrial leaders in e-vehicles, in the smartphones, in digital, in tires, in a lot of other industries. But we decided to develop Luxembourg like not only like a headquarter, like our R&D center, what we have already here, but we decided to make Luxembourg our base for industrial production. Today we have several plants in Serbia. It's not a secret. And from next year, we're starting the construction of our flagship factory. Nearby, it's in Deferdange. It's on the border, on the French border. It's something like 30 kilometers from here. This is a huge project. I'm talking about 300 million euro of investments in several stages. And it makes Luxembourg absolutely non-discussable leader in the area of graphene-based technologies, and the general transformation of materials, if we're talking about so sensitive and important trends like silicon anodes, like multicrystalline cathodes, all these most important trends in the lithium-ion battery industry, for example, and Luxembourg will be the middle. On the top of that, don't forget that Europe, like a continent, it's absolutely necessary for Europe to somehow to manage the lack. the lack of competences in some kind of emerging technologies, like e-vehicles, like battery making. And we can see all this global shift today that a lot of Asian manufacturers, they are coming to Europe. Europe is trying to establish their own industry, and I'm happy to hear that a lot of people here in Europe, they understood that this is so important, that Europe cannot be slow anymore. It's necessary to reinforce these efforts. And for us, it's also very important because it's the middle of Europe, and a lot of our customers already are around us or will be around us in the next 3-5 years.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that answer. And now I'm going to come back a little bit towards everyday people like you and me. So how does this product, how do graphene nanotubes make a difference for us ordinary customers in our everyday lives?
No, for example, a really cool application of what I'm proud about. One of our customers, one of our partners from Germany and Poland, there are two of them, they made the lightest in the world gas cylinders. And already UK firefighters, they're using these gas cylinders in their daily work, and it saves lives, real lives. Or, for example, I'm quite sure that your smartphone, there are some nanotubes at least in your smartphone too. And it means that you can charge it faster. You can use it longer. And this is very practical, very understandable application for our daily life for normal people. Or another story where I'm really proud about, this year, one of our partners here in Europe, they launched the new generation of the electrodes for body monitoring, for newborns, for kids. And this is absolutely new, cool things what are making our lives and lives of our kids much better. And this is really a very interesting story when you are able to do something for people for their daily life.
Wow, I love that, to do something for people for their daily lives. And now I actually want to go ahead and shift onto our final question. So can you kind of share some examples about how graphene nanotubes are enabling advancements in electric vehicles and renewable energy technologies? Some of you may remember that for the opening, we had Dr. James Peng, who told us some great visions about AVs and autonomous vehicles. So now we're actually going to go on to the energy aspect of vehicles. So can you tell us more about that?
It's always about energy density. Energy density, you need more energy for more functionals, for longer life cycle, to use this device after one charge longer, and so on. It doesn't matter what we are talking about. We are talking about e-vehicles or we are talking about robots. Because robots, I never heard about diesel robots. We definitely need only electrical robots. And it's again the same challenges. Energy density of the battery, the weight of the device, and so on. And today, as I told you before, we are already inside the battery blocks of more than 1 million of electric cars in the world. I'm quite sure that the product by OCSiAl, it's a matter of 3-4 years, will be in 100% of all electrical vehicles on the planet.
Amazing.
This
Wow.
is what helps us on a daily basis.
Amazing. So we can see how a material like graphene nanotubes is powering tomorrow's breakthroughs. Thank you all. Thank you, Konstantin. And can we all give a huge round to Mr. Notman for joining us today in our special fireside chat. Thank you so much for sharing your insights and views with us.
Thank you, Konstantin, for sharing your insights on this really cool subject. Graphene nanotubes are definitely going to play a crucial role in the upcoming decade, and it's great to have OCSi as a hub. Next, we have a fireside on the topic of leading through the AI revolution.
This is an increasingly relevant matter, and we actually have two wonderful speakers who will tell us more.
Please help me welcome Mark Schultz, the chairman of Wix, and Yannick, a partner at Luxembourg's leading VC firm, Mangrove Capital Partners. Please welcome them on stage.
Great to see you all, and thanks for having us today. As you can see, unfortunately, the CEO of Wix could not make it today. He's stuck in Tel Aviv for obvious reasons. But fortunately, we have the chairman of the company who lives here in Luxembourg, where else. So before we start, perhaps let me give you a quick snapshot of Wix. Wix is the leading website builder in the world. The company has around 280 million users and generates around 2 billion in revenues per year, of which 600 million of cash flow. I think that's only that number is very, very impressive. It is, in essence, one of Israel's leading companies, not only tech company, and it has the world's, not the world's, but Israel's largest campus with around 5,000 employees, of which 3,000 in Israel, and the rest split between Ukraine and the rest of the world. But, you know, thanks a lot for being with us today, Mark. Perhaps we could kick off with a simple question. You know, what is a good website?
Well, hello, everybody, and it does feel like it's the desert here today. Must be at least 40 degrees in this room. Second year in a row, by the way, that it's been this hot. But look, we at Wix, we think along one fundamental line, and that line is about making everything beautiful. And so a website is nothing more than a reflection of your identity online. Whether ultimately you're using our products just to have an identity or whether you're using them to do business, ultimately it's about how you look, how you choose to be portrayed. And so beauty, and beauty are the three key words that exist at Wix. You know, and we think about this because it's not just about your identity, but it's also what people see when they come to your website. And so your website is a reflection of what I'm going to see. Now, over 15 years, we've learned at Wix that humans are all about imagery. We largely prefer image than we do text. This is why movies are more popular than books. And the website is no different. And so when you have customers coming to your website and they don't find it beautiful immediately, what we see is they bounce somewhere else. They go, this is not a place that I want to do business in. And so fundamentally at Wix, we start off by saying, whatever we do, the experience we have to deliver to our users has to yield a beautiful image. And so that's kind of rule number one of what makes a great website. The truth, though, being is that what is beautiful is not understood by everybody. It's a bit like fashion, right? Some of us might feel we're fashionable, but we're not all fashionable, and we need help. In the fashion world, you read Vogue magazine to help you get ideas. Well, at Wix, when people build websites, we fundamentally want them to be inspired by what we deliver, the tools we give them. And if you think about the journey of somebody building a website, it goes from somebody who understands absolutely nothing about technology all the way to serious technologists. And so our platform at Wix has to deliver that experience. Now remember, a website is not just a website, because fundamentally what the website is your business online, and we as a platform have to provide all the services that allow that to be safe. So as an example, when you build a website at Wix, you build your business at Wix, we securitize your website for you, meaning nobody can hack it. Wix websites have never been hacked. We have about per month, about 100,000 hacking attempts onto Wix globally, right? And so we have a team of at least 75 people at Wix who spend all their time making sure that your website is safe. And so people sometimes ask me, well, is it not easy ultimately to build websites? Of course, the website being the tip of the iceberg is quite easy. You need to understand color, form, beauty. But then you also need to be able to build in features and functions that allow you to do whatever your business is. If you're a yoga teacher, you probably need to have a feature that allows people to make appointments. If you're selling online commerce, you probably need to have functions that allow people to spend money and do things like that. So, you know, yes, we are by far the biggest website builder in the world, 280 million users. We have about 7.5 million paying customers. And so this is what allows us to deliver these services and the quality of the products. But if you remember just one thing and you compare us to anybody else, always think the internet is a place where people judge you immediately. The minute that page loads, you are being judged. It's true for the Mangrove website, it's true for the Wix website, it's true for all websites. So fundamentally, a website is about, first and foremost, it needs to be beautiful.
So everybody is talking about AI today, and one could argue AI does beautiful stuff as well. My question to you is, Mark, when do you think you guys are going out of business because of AI?
Well, a year and a half ago, or 2 years ago, when ChatGPT was launched, the financial analysts of Wall Street essentially said Wix is out of business in 2 years. I'm glad to tell you today that we're not out of business in 2 years. The truth of the matter is, of course, we are extremely interested in AI. We've built AI into about 70 different places along our customer journey. And we think AI is a game changer for automation, for productivity, for these type of things. We do not, however, think that AI is going to put us out of business, right? So can one of the AI platforms that you use design the code for a very simple website? Of course it can. You're not sure how nice it's going to look. Probably not very pretty, actually. If you look at most of the images that are being generated out of AI today, frankly, you have the wow factor one time. You go, oh, well, that's a kind of cool picture, but then you tend not to reuse those things. And so over time, I think, beauty still is something that humans will do very well, the appreciation of what is beautiful versus what is not. But AI is no doubt a huge opportunity for Wix as we build this into all of our product offerings and just make our users have a much easier and simpler experience. By way of one example I'll give you is you can build a website, but then you actually have to write stuff on it, right? So I encourage you all, by the way, and it's free, to try to build a website. And you'll immediately be confronted by some very basic and simple questions. What color palette do I use? What font do I use? We will propose all of that to you, but then you have to actually write typo on it. So what does it say on my page? This is one of the most confusing things you'll have to do because you really don't know how to do it. Well, we've embedded, I think in that particular place, our partnership is with ChatGPT. And as you're going through the process of building your website, ChatGPT embedded into Wix will provide the text for you. So what we see now is that we're able to get our users from start to finish using AI in a much more efficient way and fast way. What we are not seeing yet today are the financial benefits to Wix about AI. It's not as if because AI is embedded in our product, our revenues are up by 20%. And I would argue very few companies can show you that causality between implementing AI and actually making more money. So that's still quite a distance in the future. Right now, I think what AI has done to most products out there and most platforms like Wix is, there's a minimum requirement that the users now want. And if you don't have AI, you're in trouble. So we've invested last year several $100 million into embedding AI into our products. And it's really more of a cost to us right now than it is a revenue generator. We do think it creates future opportunities, but right now it is still more of a cost than anything else.
Speaking of evolution, I understand that you guys made an announcement today of having acquired a vibe coding company in Israel. For those who don't know that, if AI is cool, vibe coding is even cooler. What's behind that move? Is that a signal that Wix is getting more acquisitive?
Yeah, well, I hope it is. I hope it is. The reality is vibe coding is the latest trend and tendency, and what it really does is it allows, in a very simple way, voice prompts, written prompts, to generate applications in the most simple of forms. And so there's a number of these companies around in the world. Probably the ecosystem of those companies is about 10 to 15 good companies. Wix felt that we needed to have that capability embedded into our platform so that when our users come and say, okay, I want to build an e-commerce site with Wix, fine, Wix can do that. But I want to also add this feature, and Wix doesn't have it in its app store. Right? We have over 300 applications, third-party applications in our app store. You can just take that application, embed it into Wix, and that feature will be live immediately on your website. Assuming for a moment Wix hasn't done a good enough job, doesn't have the functionality you want, we want to give you the ability to custom develop it yourself using vibe programming. And so today we made the announcement that we bought an Israeli company called Base 44. We paid about $100 million for this business, and we think, when it comes to very specific technology acquisitions, you need to buy best in class. You can always hope that if it's not developed by Wix, it may not be good. We have a bit of that. This is the IBM syndrome, right? If we didn't invent it, it can't be good. Wix has some of that, but for very specific technology features, we're convinced you need to buy best in class. And more importantly, we are going to be positioning Wix as we want Wix to be the go-to acquirer in Israel. And so as we become bigger and bigger, we may need to make sure that our home market, from a development perspective, is the place where everybody wants to sell to us. And so this is the beginning of probably a number of acquisitions to come, but we're extremely excited about this.
Wix today is a massive company. And we talked about, one thing I'm always impressed by is that you stayed true to your origins, right? You wanted to make coding available to everyone. If we think about the future, what's next for Wix?
Well, we launched our first AI product in 2016, and it was called Wix ADI, Artificial Design Intelligence. And you would go in and you'd answer a few questions and it would generate a website for you. And so, of course, most of us think of AI being born with the launch of ChatGPT 2 years ago. The truth of the matter, the good tech companies have been working on this for quite some time. I think the future is really all about continuing our journey around giving users, designers, and content creators the best place to earn a living from. So, we want to be sure that you can do anything you want. Your imagination, the sky is the limit with your imagination. Our platform needs to allow you to do this at, frankly, a rather reasonable cost. Our annual cost at Wix is about $150. That's $150 annual dollars. Now it can go up, but that's the average. $150. You can put your business online and live off of this. And so, it's not zero. We do have a lot of free users, 280 million users, of which 7 million pay us. So we carry a lot of those people. But it's very much part of our business model. You should only be spending money when you believe you can make money. And in that respect, we continue that journey down the path of continuing to liberate the opportunity for people just to build a business and build an identity and make sure that this creator economy can truly exist and where the creators are going to make more money than anybody else.
Super. Mark, thank you so much. I think this was great, and send all the good vibes back to the team in Tel Aviv.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your insights on this. On a personal note, Yannick, I'm a big fan of Wix, and I think it's a great platform to launch global initiatives.
Definitely, Leo. Now, we're going to switch directions a little bit with our next fireside chat about unlocking the power of social media to drive business impact. We have two talented experts on this matter, so I'm looking forward to learning more. Please help us welcome Irina Novoselsky, the CEO of Hootsuite, and Meagan Loyst, the founder and CEO of Gen Z VCs, who will conduct this chat. The stage is yours.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you. Stools are a little awkward to sit on. Okay, I'm going to do my best.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us. You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Thank you so much for joining us here in Luxembourg. Super excited to talk about socials and how it's really powering business growth. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and Hootsuite?
Yeah, I would love to, Meagan. So Hootsuite is the world's largest social media revenue performance engine, and one of the things that we do is we help companies from small to large figure out how to drive revenue off social media.
Amazing. So with that, I think we can both agree that socials is way more than just having viral videos, right? It's how companies build trust, connect with customers, and more importantly, drives business growth. So can you talk a little bit about this shift that's happening where socials is becoming more than just a brand play and really a business engine for companies?
Okay, brand play versus business engine. Anybody want to be honest in the room? Put your hand up if you spend more than 1 hour on social media a day.
Me.
Okay, raise your hands loud. I'm not done. Keep them up. How many of you spend more than 2 hours? Keep going. Don't lie. 3 hours? Thank you for being honest. 4? Should we go for 4? Do we have any 5 in here? Oh, and brave, but it's part of your job. Okay. Well, if you looked around, most of you are spending most of your days on social media. So is the rest of the world. There are 5 billion people around the world spending an average of 3 hours a day, and that most likely is an underrated stat because people don't want to admit how long they're spending on social media. And so when you're talking to brands and companies, there is no other place on the planet that you can get attention from that many people for that long. And so it becomes less of a decision. It's just a question of why wouldn't you take advantage of talking to your customers and your employees out there?
Yeah, I mean, when I look at my screen time, I want to throw up. I think
Yeah.
I spend anywhere from 10 to 20 hours a week
It's
on
embarrassing.
TikTok alone.
Okay, I
Right.
can't open TikTok. It's too aggressive for me.
I get that, but you're
I
really
get overstimulated.
You're super active on LinkedIn, and I think really serving as an example for so many business leaders out there that are trying to be public advocates for their brand. Because we see this more often, right? Where consumers and people, they expect more from companies. They don't want to just hear from the brand themselves. They want to hear from the people behind the brands. So can you talk a little bit about being an advocate as an executive, and also how you can empower your employees to do the same?
Okay, there's so much goodness in there. So Meagan, you did some of this work, but so I decided to dig into Gen Zers a little while ago, and I thought, okay, I'm a millennial, me and Gen Z, we're the same people. So I started meeting with a few of them. Fun fact, we are not the same at all. And so as I started digging into them, I got to about 500 different interviews of Gen Zers. And it really is a generation that is packed with contradiction. They grew up with a phone in their pocket, yet they don't use it to talk. They want to have the ability to come into the office, but if you mandate a return to office, they'll quit. Right? They want to have a successful career, but as long as it's on their terms and their hours. And so once you kind of dig into this, there's a few things that are really changing our common and our ordinary business playbooks, and they're really flipping it on its head. This is a generation that does not want to be sold to. They want to form authentic relationships, they want to follow people they trust, and then they want to buy from people. They don't want to get sold to. And that distinction is really important because if you're a brand and you're out there, one of the best ways to do it is to put authentic voices out there, because it's really hard to relate to a company or a brand, but it's a lot easier to relate to a person. And so it's wild to me that executives are not putting more time in there, especially when the stats follow. There's this crazy stat that we saw that 88% of Gen Zers, by the time they get on the phone with a human, they already know that they're making the purchasing decision. And in so most cases, the salespeople think, I'm so good, I can close almost every time I get on the phone with these people. And that's not really what's happening, is they're making the decision before they get on the phone. They're making a decision before they even interact with your company. They're making the decision as they're reading the 10 different long papers and making their research. And if you're not showing up where they're doing their work, you're never going to get on that day one list to get that phone call. And it's mind-boggling to me that companies aren't embracing it more.
And I think the results speak for themselves. You're very, very active on LinkedIn. I saw recently you had something like 12 million impressions in the past couple months on LinkedIn alone, right? Is there like a playbook that companies can follow, especially if there are any executives or business leaders in the room that are maybe hesitant to do their first post?
Yeah, okay, well, another show of hands. How many of you have posted anything on social media ever? Hi. Okay, about 25% or so. So fun fact, 97% of the content comes from about 3% of the population. Most people are, there's a polite word for it, but I call them stalkers. I was a stalker myself. I am a stalker in many cases on Instagram, but on LinkedIn I post. And so that first post is very jarring. I'm Eastern European. I like to be private. I don't really know why everybody needs to share what they eat for breakfast every day, but I like consuming it, so I'm happy to follow it. And so the first step of just putting yourself out there and posting is hard. And I think the first thing that I would say to any of you that have executives that you think should do it, or you yourself, start by commenting. Just leaving a comment on somebody that you really like, or you like what they've said, or someone you admire. Just leave a comment a day, and it becomes very infectious, and you slowly start building relationships, and magical things happen. Outside of us getting deals, it's one of the things I joke, we do a weekly all-hands communication call. 15 minutes every week with every single employee. And I try to communicate, and I think I'm communicating. I don't know if anybody hears anything we're saying on those 15 minutes, but if we post that on LinkedIn, I hear about it immediately. They're reading that.
Well, I think on that note too, something you posted about recently is that really how socials can drive business metrics and opportunities. Like, you're starting to analyze your Gong sales, right, to see that impact. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think one of the things, so I originally started my career in finance. I like measuring things. I'm a big believer, if you can't measure it, why are you doing it? And then I enter the world of organic social media, and it's really hard to measure. And so the two parts of my brain are in conflict with each other, and yet we know it's working. And we were thinking, how do we prove that it's working? We know we're getting business off this. We know we're building relationships. We know we're retaining customers, but how do we show it in the numbers? And so one of the things that we started doing is we started seeing how often in Gong, people are mentioning my LinkedIn presence on deals. And do those deals renew? Do they expand higher? Do they convert faster? And it's kind of been amazing to watch. It does all of that.
Amazing. And, you know, we talked a little bit about LinkedIn. There's Twitter as well. I think there's this misconception, right, when we think about social media. Our brains immediately go to B2C brands, consumers, but Hootsuite has thousands of B2B customers. So what are some trends and things that you're seeing for B2B brands specifically succeeding on socials?
I love that question. I was meeting with a B2B CEO. His company just recently got valued at $2 billion. He said the same thing to me. He goes, Irina, I get it. I love that for B2C companies. I'm a B2B business. Does this really apply? Okay, ready? Quick show of hands. How many of you are human in the room? For now, all of us. Trick question. And the reason that I ask is it's important. People buy from people. When's the last time you got inspired by a brand? Or you're like, I really need that brand, right? You see a commercial, you're inspired by the person you saw. You hear someone talk, you're inspired by the feeling they gave you. You have a connection, you want to follow that connection. One more fun fact. What percent, anybody, this is a call out moment, so get brave. What percent of people, what percent of the click-through rate when you get an ad? So if somebody gives you an ad, what percent of people actually click through the ad to purchase whatever the ad is saying? Anybody want to throw out some numbers? Safe space, throw it out. Yes, 5%. Anybody else? 7. Okay, the answer is 3 to 7. If it's a referral, meaning somebody you know gave you a referral, what is the percent likelihood that you're going to follow through on that referral? They either give you a restaurant, they give you a hotel rec, they give you a B2B business that you should buy because they love the software. Any ideas? 90? 50? It's 70 to 80%. And yet, you know where 95% of our dollars are going in the marketing world? To the ad piece. And very little attention is being spent on the referral, on the organic engine, on the social media engine, where you're hearing from people where they want to go. And so I think it's a huge opportunity for people to double down and kind of understand how do you drive that advocacy approach.
And I think it can be internal, but it could also be external. So we're both creators on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I've started seeing, like as a creator personally, I have about 60,000 followers, so it's not crazy
Crushing
massive.
me. You're crushing
but
me.
I'm getting a lot of brand deals from huge companies like Notion, for example, where they really want that visibility, and so they're putting it on their own
especially because you're bringing an audience that a lot of people want, right? You have thousands and thousands of people that are Gen Zers, and they want to know how they're thinking, what are they doing, because that's the future.
It is the future. And I think too, like I'm also a social media manager. I run social media for an ed tech unicorn called Class Dojo. We're using social tools all day long. And you've said before that social media teams deserve a seat at the table. Otherwise, companies are leaving millions of dollars on, behind effectively. Can you talk a little bit about that and how you embody that practice at Hootsuite?
Yeah. So our social media team, they're awesome. Most of our viral moments they come up with, they do. They also have a seat at our executive table. So they come and present to our ELT, our executive leadership team, monthly, sometimes at least quarterly, but we try monthly. And they come with their insights of what they learned. They also present to our product team to tell us what our customers are saying. They present to our customer office team to talk about what people are happy with, what they're unhappy with. So they really have an active voice at the table. And so I just got back this morning from Cannes Lions, and one of the resounding themes is I was meeting all of these senior marketing leaders that started in social media. And I truly believe that the next CMO, the traditional CMO got replaced by the digital CMO. And I think the digital CMO is going to get replaced by the social media CMO.
We'll see. But I do think on that point, right, you run a socials company. A lot of companies and maybe founders, executives might have a little bit of trouble giving away that trust, right? Because I think with socials, everything has to be instant. Trends are ephemeral. They happen in seconds and minutes and days, not weeks or months. And so oftentimes the difference between a super viral video and a not viral video is being able to execute on it very quickly. So how do you empower leaders to be able to give that trust to social teams to do what they do best?
Okay, so I think there's two types of trust. I would not give someone that trust for my own social account. I would like to review what goes on my account. But for the Hootsuite account, I think this goes back to any leader. I mean, when you're hiring executives, you have to trust them, or what's the point of hiring the person you're hiring? And so same thing with the social media team. I mean, I deeply trust their thought process, their approach, their common sense. I think that role is such a hard role to find smart, qualified people, but they're strategic, they understand our goals, they understand what's gonna work, what's not. And so I don't know how else you lead without trusting.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And kind of shifting gears a little bit, I think we would be remiss not to talk about AI a little bit, right?
We love AI.
Such a big topic here. But I think more importantly, right, like every Hootsuite, you're known for social media management, but you've really evolved to focus on things like employee advocacy, customer support.
Bought a company from Luxembourg, TalkWalker, brought us little analytics and listening.
Amazing. And real-time social listening, right? And so maybe could you talk a little bit about specifically, there's so much conversation about AI content creation, but not so much about AI powering strategy. Can you talk about real-time social listening and how it really does inform business decisions?
Love that question. Okay, ready? One more audience question. Anybody know for ChatGPT, when you're going to ask any kind of platform, OpenAI, Gemini, whatever, when you're asking it for social media insights, does anybody know what year or how old, I'm kind of leading the audience here, how old do you think that data is? Anybody? Throw it out. What is it? 21? Anybody else? 23? 2019? Okay. All right, I kind of set it up maybe. But old. It's from 2023. Could you imagine driving insights off of 2-year-old data? Nobody would even think of doing that, and especially in a world of social media where whatever happened this morning is probably out of touch already by the end of the day. And so one of the things that's so exciting that we get to do with TalkWalker is really take and harness all of these multiple data points that we have to drive insight to help fuel topics that are most relevant to the stakeholders that you want to target. So we have the ability to understand, what are your consumers talking about? What are your customers talking about? What makes sense? What are your competitors talking about? How do you stand out in this noise of AI? Because one of the things that AI is going to continue doing is that first question that we all asked of how many of you post, and very few of you raised your hand. In the world of AI, the posting volume and the number of content pieces is only going to go up, which means the noise is going to increase. And so having the ability to turn the dial and to really focus in on the insight that you need to the right stakeholder is going to become even more important. So I'm really grateful for AI.
It can help launch new products, new business
lines.
Everything,
the sentiment, what countries to go into. It can tell you what the names of your products should be, what campaigns. Are you converting on sales enough? It can literally help you generate leads that, hey, Meagan is looking to change vendors because she needs a new content platform. And then somebody reaches out and says, hey, Meagan, I saw you liked a competitor of ours. Are you looking to leave?
Okay, so we've talked so much about socials and how it drives business outcomes, and we've got about a minute left.
Okay,
so maybe
talk fast.
Really quickly, if there's one takeaway that people should take away today about social media and where it's heading, whether it's AI related or otherwise, what would that insight or takeaway be?
I think the world is driven by relationships. The only thing that humans have thrived on for years and years, the one thing they regret, the one thing that makes us happy, it brings us joy, it calms our nervous system down, it's building human connections, and it is incredible to see what you can do by interacting and building that kind of authentic human connection on social. So I would challenge you, get out there, make a friend, put yourself out there. You'd be surprised what the impact can be.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us,
thank
Irina.
You for having me, Meagan.
And let's give a round of applause, everyone.
Thank you so much. I'm going to do a selfie with this group. Okay, we're going to do a video. Is everyone good with a little video? Okay, I'm going to take silence as approval. All right, Meagan, ready?
Yes, ready.
Okay, maybe we'll do Nexus on 3.
Sounds good.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Nexus.
Okay, one more time and look alive. Ready? Nexus on 3. 1, 2,
Nexus.
3. Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks so much, everyone.
Epic. Wow. Thank you, Irina, and thank you, Meagan, for this amazing fireside chat on unlocking the power of social media to drive business impact. And I love the fun clip at the end. It shows that you have to preach what you actually do and say. Amazing. And Leo, can we continue?
And continuing on the tone of impact, our next keynote will focus on building Europe's digital future, highlighting innovation, investment, and inclusion. Let's learn more from Commissioner Maria Louise Albuquerque, the Commissioner for Financial Services and the Savings and Investment Union at the European Commission. Please welcome her warmly.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is a pleasure to be with you all here in Luxembourg, a country that truly understands the strategic importance of finance and technology, and it is a fitting setting for a discussion on how innovation can shape a better, more inclusive future. I understand that in the past 2 days of discussions, they have provided a powerful demonstration of how rapidly the digital landscape is evolving. And I found myself already wondering what will be at the center of our discussions this time next year. As European Commissioner for Financial Services and the Savings and Investments Union, I am very aware of the need for urgent investment in Europe's digital capabilities. For me, investment in innovation is the foundation of a stronger, more competitive European economy. But as many of you know, especially those from the venture capital community, innovation doesn't happen without financing. And it certainly doesn't flourish without the right conditions. We cannot afford to be complacent in what concerns digital finance. It is a space that is evolving continuously. Yet, despite the progress we've made, too many financial institutions, both large and small, remain held back by outdated systems, fragmented markets, and risk-averse mindsets. And this cannot continue. We need a European financial sector that is digital-first, data-smart, and AI-ready. Let me highlight 3 key areas where we are actively working to make that ambition a reality. First, the foundations: data, infrastructure, and the Savings and Investments Union. We are advancing our rules and strategies to bring more retail investors into the financial system and to make European capital markets more integrated, deeper, and accessible to all citizens. But these markets will only thrive if they are efficient and operate digitally. That is why we are pushing for future-proof rules and encouraging the use of emerging technologies. For instance, in the EU, we have put in place a pilot regime on distributed ledger technologies. This facilitates the issuance, trading, and settlement of tokenized securities. My priority is to ensure that citizens can access a wider range of high-quality financial services and investment opportunities. We are seeing new players entering the financial system, harnessing technology to offer innovative, user-friendly solutions. And the strong uptake shows just how much these services resonate with people. Increased competition and collaboration within the financial sector mean more choice and lower costs for consumers. This is the kind of progress that digital innovation can deliver. We are now in the final stages of negotiating the rules that will help bring Europe's financial sector fully into the digital age. At the heart of this is the Financial Data Access Regulation, or FIDA, which will establish a secure and open framework for access to customer data. This will open the door to more innovation, more competition, and better services for consumers. For the AI and tech community, the message is clear. More high-quality data will become available, and demand for data-driven solutions will grow. We are laying the groundwork for artificial intelligence and digital innovation to thrive responsibly within the financial sector. Our proposal has nevertheless faced strong criticism, mostly coming from the incumbents in the sector. We understand their concerns, and we are proposing further simplifying the framework. But FIDA must see the light of day in an ambitious form that allows consumers to take control of their data and facilitate innovation and competition. So I count on your support to help us reach these goals. Second point, AI itself. The European Union's AI Act is the world's first comprehensive legal framework for artificial intelligence. It sets out clear rules to address potential risks for people's health, safety, and fundamental rights. These are ambitious measures, and they are essential to ensure that AI serves society responsibly and ethically. Our intention with this framework is to provide greater legal certainty and foster public trust, both essential to encouraging investment and wider adoption. Our focus now is on implementation, making sure that the rules are clear, proportionate, and accessible to all, from developers to end users. In the European Union, we actively encourage innovation. This April, the Commission launched the AI Continent Action Plan with the ambition of positioning Europe as a global leader in artificial intelligence. We recognize the transformative potential of AI across our continent and are committed to ensuring its benefits reach all sectors of the economy, including finance. The plan sets out concrete measures to develop large-scale AI data and computing infrastructures, improve access to high-quality data, promote AI adoption in strategic sectors, strengthen Europe's skills and talent base, and support the effective implementation of the AI Act. At the same time, we are closely monitoring AI developments in the market. Generative AI, large language models, and autonomous trading tools are already well established across the EU, influencing decisions, investment strategies, and market dynamics. We are engaging actively with industry stakeholders to deepen our understanding of AI applications, the associated risks, and their impact on competition within the financial system. And we want to hear from you, because effective policy must keep pace with innovation and reflect real-world developments. Third, competitiveness and competition. We need open markets, open standards, and open minds. This means fostering competition and collaboration between established players and emerging innovators. It means supporting those who take smart, responsible risks. And it means placing innovation at the heart of Europe's competitiveness agenda. We cannot afford regulatory frameworks that block new entrants or freeze innovation. Nor can we afford a digitally fragmented financial sector across member states. Our role is to remove the legal, technical, and behavioral barriers that hold back progress. And your role as technology leaders is to shape the future with responsibility, ambition, and a commitment to the public good. So let me close with this. The years ahead will redefine the landscape for finance. I want to see a financial system that is more accessible, one that offers Europeans greater opportunities to grow and manage their wealth. AI, data, decentralized technologies, cybersecurity are converging to form a new financial paradigm, one that is faster, smarter, and more interconnected. Europe has the talent, capital, and the regulatory stability needed to drive innovation forward. But we must be bold, and we must accelerate our efforts. That is why our work and this event are so important. My vision is of a financial sector that doesn't just keep up with the digital revolution, but actively powers it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Albuquerque, for sharing this vision of Europe.
To conclude Nexus Luxembourg 2025, Minister Stéphanie Obertin our Minister of Digitalisation and of Research and Higher Education shall deliver the closing remarks of this incredible two-day tech experience. Please give her a warm welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, 2 very exciting days come to an end. If further proof were needed, this event has once again demonstrated just how vibrant Luxembourg's tech scene is. As Minister for Digitalisation and Minister for Research and Higher Education, I couldn't be happier. Luxembourg aims to become a leader in digital technologies and data. In order to achieve such an ambitious goal, we need to develop our own solutions in areas such as data, artificial intelligence, and quantum technology. The goal is to position Luxembourg as a trusted and secure international hub for storing and using sensitive data, building on its current strengths like stability, trust, and its strong financial and economic sector, which with the rapid growth of data and advances in AI, the government is launching a clear strategy to strengthen the country's digital sovereignty. This strategy puts innovation at the center, focuses on people, and aims to attract global talent. Major investments will have to be made in infrastructure, skills, and key projects to turn this ambitious vision into reality. At the heart of this vision is artificial intelligence, a force transforming societies, economies, and governments. Importantly, when we speak of AI, we do so with precision. Our strategy distinguishes between large language models, symbolic AI, and machine learning. This clarity is essential not just for developers, but for policymakers and the public. AI is not just a tool, it is a sovereign choice. And that is why our ambition is to develop, deploy, and govern AI in a way that is secure, ethical, and fundamentally Luxembourgish. Through initiatives like LLM for Gov and 4LM, Luxembourg has taken the lead in building AI solutions for public good. But we don't ask models to do everything. We benchmark, we constrain, and we govern their use according to purpose and risk. LLM for Gov allows us to set guidelines on choosing large language models best suited to the specific needs of our public sector without omitting that all data is processed and hosted securely. We do not see AI as a universal solution to every problem. AI tools, particularly large language models, are probabilistic systems, not compassionate human beings. They assist, they do not replace. That's why LLM for Gov is as much about understanding their limitations as it is about evaluating their potential. Meanwhile, 4LM, our legal language model, aims to align perfectly the complex tapestry of Luxembourg and EU law to serve both public servants and citizens in legal and compliance matters. There is a growing concern around the ethical dimensions of AI training, particularly the use of protected works and the working conditions in global annotation supply chains. Luxembourg is committed to advancing sovereign and ethical alternatives. By investing in local and European evaluation infrastructure, we aim to reduce reliance on opaque or exploitative development pipelines. These ambitious projects embody our broader strategy to ensure data remains under national control and that AI aligns with the values established in the AI Act and the Council of Europe's Convention on AI. Ladies and gentlemen, a sovereign AI ecosystem requires sovereign infrastructure. That is why we have partnered with Clarence Cloud Platform, Europe's first disconnected sovereign cloud. Powered by a joint venture between LuxConnect and Proximus and housed in a Tier 4 data center, Clarence ensures that sensitive data stays within our jurisdiction. In parallel, our secure processing environments will use techniques like differential privacy and pseudonymization to enable data innovation without compromising individual privacy. This SPE, supported by Luxembourg's strong cybersecurity posture, will earn us a global reputation for digital trust. Let us be clear, AI is only as good as the data and compute that feed it. That is why our national strategy weaves AI, data and quantum technologies into an integrated vision. With Meluxina and the upcoming Meluxina AI and the Meluxina Q platforms, we are fusing high-performance computing and quantum computing with sovereign data infrastructures. And we don't ignore that the environmental cost, our Meluxina supercomputer operates entirely on renewable energy, and our infrastructure investments are guided by sustainability principles. AI that burdens the planet cannot serve society in the long term. It is in this continuum, from data generation to a quantum interference, that Luxembourg's true edge lies. We are not only preparing for post-quantum cryptography, we are designing the next decade of secure communication through projects like Lux, QCI, and Eagle 1 satellite anchoring our quantum sovereignty in orbit. Luxembourg's AI ambitions are not abstract. They are rooted in concrete benefits for society. We are deeply aware that not every challenge calls for AI. In each deployment, be it in the public administration, education, or climate planning, we assess the real benefit against the cost, complexity, and ethical implications. We choose AI when it is useful, not when it is fashionable. The synthetic data factory, led by the LNDS, allows us to simulate complex realities while safeguarding real identities. This innovation is already driving projects like the digital twin for climate change, where AI helps model and mitigate risks. Equally important is our human-centric approach. Through national AI calls for projects and sector-specific pilots, we ensure that AI is deployed where it matters most: healthcare, mobility, public administration, education. Our chatbot for schools and the AI for legislative analysis are just two examples of how AI is making government smarter and more responsive. Digital sovereignty is a national priority, but European cooperation is our compass. Luxembourg plays an active role in Gaia-X, Euro-HPC, and LLM for EU, aligning our tools and values with those of the broader Union. Our commitment is to help shape a digital Europe that is secure, fair, and open. We are also harnessing our scale to act with agility. Our AI factories, our governments, frameworks, our data services, all are designed to be interoperable, extensible, and resilient. These qualities make Luxembourg a trusted partner for nations, researchers, and companies across Europe. A key milestone was recently reached when the government signed a strategic partnership with Mistral AI. This partnership is aimed at strengthening technological innovation and promoting the development and adoption of artificial intelligence in Luxembourg. It marks a significant step in Luxembourg's commitment to positioning itself as a global leader in the data sovereignty economy. To become a leader in digital transformation and in data, you need more than compute power or data volume. You need vision, coordination, and trust. And Luxembourg has all of three. We are building a sovereign, ethical, and human-centric AI ecosystem, one that puts people first, protects rights, and powers innovation. And as the Prime Minister said a few weeks ago at the Charlemagne Prize festivities, Being sovereign means being self-confident. It means taking one's own decisions on one's own terms and based on one's own values. Together, let us turn ambition into action. Thank you, and see you next year on the 10th and 11th of June. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Minister Obertin, for these closing words of Nexus Luxembourg 2025.
Today, we are at the conclusion of Day 2 of Nexus, the international tech experience.
From a wonderful lineup of speakers, rich audience exchanges, interactions, and innovative discussions, we are coming to the conclusion of a beautiful event. The message I'd like to give here is thank you. You, the audience, have made this event stand where it is today. You have enabled our community and worked towards crafting a brighter and more ethical and sustainable future. Being at the final day of Nexus Luxembourg 2025, the journey doesn't end here.
This is the start to accelerating innovation, fostering out-of-the-box thinking, and supporting ethics. Everyone in this room has a meaningful role to play in shaping this future, and we must do it together. Nexus champions the message of collective progress going beyond the traditional framework of a conference.
We are at a pivotal moment for change, and by working together, we can really change the world. Let's make it happen.
Thank you.